Hi, I'm Lana Kelly, and this is Hudson Valley Art Speak. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Today we're going to be talking to Diane Ingram. Diane is an author, a speaker, a personal coach. She's got a lot going on, and thanks for coming, Diane.
My pleasure, Lana.
I'd love to hear about what you're doing, and you know, we had talked before about in January you had sent out one of your blog posts, which I'm fortunate enough to get, and
Thank you.
It was about resetting yourself, you know, at the new year, and it's spring now, and so maybe we can talk about resetting for spring and how you do it.
Right. We have these opportunities all the time in our life, and of course January is an obvious one, and then spring's another chance. And it's an opportunity to really do a deeper dive within ourselves and look at what's going on in my life, where am I headed? You know, we're often looking down and putting out fires and dealing with the day-to-day. It's an opportunity to look up and say, is my life unfolding in a way that feels satisfying and fulfilling for me? And so some of the places to look are, well, first off, to spend time with ourselves in stillness and perhaps some meditation, but to really ask our heart, which knows what it is that, you know, it calls us to these various things that matter to us. And so to really do regular checking in with our heart so that what we're fulfilling in our life is aligned with our deeper selves.
How do you do that?
Well, I recommend that people take 10, 15, maybe 20, maybe the luxury of a half an hour every morning. And before they check into their phones or their computers and email and all that stuff that takes us away from ourselves, and really be with yourself. And it requires discipline because we are hyper connected.
Yeah, let me just ask you, so when you say be with yourself, sit quietly.
Sit quietly in stillness. We don't experience much stillness these days because we are so hyper connected, you know, through all the, you know, social media and technology and all the things beeping and booping at us, you know. So it's really critical that we remember, oh yeah, you know, being connected with myself means that I'm making choices from what it is that I want in my life, not dictated by what I'm being told I should want in my life. So really spending time to be with oneself and ask those questions, you know, do some deep breathing, you know, ask yourself what really matters to me now, you know, has that changed? Remind yourself of your values. Am I living those in my day-to-day reality? What juices me up? You know, is it something, you know, creativity is a portal to our deeper selves. And so making sure that we're making time in our lives for that creative expression, whatever it could be. But initially and daily to sit with oneself and really be with yourself by dropping out of the head, which is, you know, the Buddhists call it monkey mind, because we're always running around like trying to figure things out, and really dropping into the wisdom of our hearts and our bellies, which are much more connected to who we are.
Right. So would this take, you know, do you have to practice this? You know, you practice day after day and just get better at it as it goes along, but then you have to follow whatever your decisions are.
Yeah, and so there's a couple tools you can use, as in meditation, deep breathing, to land more deeply in yourself. You can start out by putting both feet on the floor and really grounding your energy, visualizing. I often do a visualization with people of tree roots coming out the bottom of your feet and really feeling yourself planted on the earth. You know, anxiety is epidemic in our culture, and some people are just chemically anxious, but most of us are just disconnected from ourselves, and everything is out there to kind of pull us away. So we're not only pulled away out here, we're pulled up here, and you know, it's a very mental culture we live in. So when we ground our energy and start to connect more with ourselves, we can start to let go and open up. And when we do that, we can really tap into our own intuition, our own inner wisdom, and it does take practice, and it's the more you do it, the more your body, your heart, your belly say, oh, this is safe to open up here. I'm being welcomed. As in creativity with the muse, opening up that channel is something that you need to do regularly in order to really start to get the depth of yourself.
Yeah. One thing that I've noticed that has got to become a stock reply when you say, hi, how are you? And, oh, I'm fine, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. And, it's just that everybody, it seems, is saying that.
Yeah. So a lot of my work with people is about moving from that sense of being victimized by one's life, like I'm so busy, I have no choice here, I just got to keep, being the hamster on the wheel, to really, once again, like when you take the time to be with yourself, you can move more into, what are my choices here in my life? I mean, most of us have to work, and so that takes up a certain amount of our time, but we do have discretionary time. And how are we spending that? Are we spending that in a way to just kind of regroup before we have to jump back into the busyness again?
Right, yeah.
Or are we spending that in a way that nourishes us, that really brings us optimum satisfaction? I was listening to the woman, anyone who's doing art is usually experiencing a deeper part of themselves. So that's much more enriching. So being empowered to make those choices for yourself that are important to you. And the way you find that out is by spending time with yourself and having that regular, deeper conversation.
Right. And what about the stress in our lives? I mean, will this also, the same process, help to de-stress people somewhat?
Yeah, so a couple things about that. And just one more point on busyness is some of us feel like being busy means we're important, that we have value. So that's really something to check into, because that's a misnomer. It's really, if we're busy for the sake of being busy, we're not really adding value to ourselves or even to the world.
Right.
But when we're actually more in control of our time and control of our choices, we're feeling much more satisfied with ourselves. Stress is one of those things that's actually neutral. But when there's too much of it, we're in that, when we're in stress mode, we're releasing cortisol in our system and adrenaline. And there are times in our life when that's important, because that gives us this superhuman strength, right? Or this power to move out of a situation. But if we hang out in that place too long, then our cells are actually closed when that's happening. We're in protect mode. And once again, that serves a purpose when we're in danger. But if we're in that posture all the time, it starts eroding our organs and really impacting us in a negative way. So it's important to oscillate between that and relaxation. We all need stress.
Yeah.
We need stress to grow. Otherwise it's kind of, I'm going to be a couch potato and do nothing with my life. And that's not very satisfying. So good stress is when we're answering the call to our heart, taking on those challenges that our heart's calling us to do, and trying on some new things outside of our comfort zone. That's the good stress. And when we're in that, we're releasing oxytocin, we're connecting with others in a really significant way. We're releasing serotonin, which is that feel-good, endorphins,
right,
which
yeah.
we feel when we exercise and run, but also when we're challenging ourselves and meeting ourselves in an uplifting way. So that's good stress. But we don't want to stay in negative stress too long, because it starts to erode our system in a way that's not healthy.
Right, it has effects on your body, on your
Big time.
on chronic illnesses.
Your psyche,
Yeah.
you're just kind of in this alarm mode. So it's oscillating between stress and relaxation, and it's also making sure that when we're in stress, we're experiencing good stress as much as possible.
Yeah. Now, do you deal with how people eat and how that affects all these things too?
Absolutely. I mean, those are the fundamentals. We're supposed to get 7 hours of sleep a night. Most people don't. There's, scientists are finding all the benefits of sleep that are just amazing. It cleans out all the dead cells in our body. It helps us to integrate information. So sleep is really important. Eating food that fuels your system. If you're trying to meet challenges in your life and expand into a larger, more purposeful you, and you don't have the fuel or the energy to do that, you're not going to be able to be successful at that. You'll just want to do whatever's the easiest. And so really, in order to expand into a more fuller self, you need to take care of your health, exercise, eating, getting enough rest. Those are really the three pieces that are important.
Yeah, they're really basic stuff.
They're really basic stuff, and we tend to, particularly exercise, when we get busy and stressed, we tend to move that out of our lives. And when we're exercising regularly, that helps us stay grounded in our body, in our more, able to go to that relaxation place, and able to ask ourselves the larger questions, because we're not in that hunker down, protect mode. Yeah.
We only have a few minutes left, but tell me a little bit. I know that you do some workshops in the community and work with groups, so just tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, I was just at the Pauling Library last night, and I was at the Patterson Library in the wintertime. So I do libraries, I do organizations and associations and conferences, and I talk to people basically about empowerment, how to take your life back from whatever you've given your power away to as much as possible, and really make those choices for you that feel purposeful. That feel like this is what I'm here to do and be. And not all of us can do that in our work. In order to make money, we need to sometimes do jobs that aren't necessarily 100% on purpose. But the more we can grow and learn and develop in those positions, as well as using our time outside of work to do those things that juice us up and bring us pleasure and allow us to contribute to the world, then it's a pretty happy life we're living.
Yeah. And you're also doing webinars, or?
I do webinars, wellness webinars and seminars. I go into corporations and speak with them on, time management and stress and purposeful living and living what matters, those kind of things. So, yeah.
Is there information on your website about this?
There is. There is information, and there's also videos of me speaking, and so you can get a glimpse of what I talk about and what that's like. So my website's www.dianeingram.com, and so there's information there about my books, my cable TV show I used to do here at Comcast, and as well as my speaking engagements.
Yeah. So what's any plans or changes or something else new coming up in the future?
For myself, my point of growth, my good stress is moving more and more into being a keynote speaker for associations, really helping people get in touch with the celebration of their life, the empowerment of their life, living purposefully, heading towards their potential. What I find in my wellness seminars is people are hungry for that conversation. There's not many places in their life where people are talking about that. So the more I can bring that to the forefront and remind them, this is your life. It goes by really quickly, and so you want to use it to your fullest and get as much pleasure as possible.
Right. Well, and on that note, our time has gone by really quickly.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Diane.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing some of your work on your website.
Thank you.